Good morning and welcome back to My Life's Toil with me, Neil. It's Wednesday's update, which isn't really much of an update today because I only did the weigh-in on Sunday, but there are a few things I wanted to discuss which are quite important on today's video, and most of them come from a lot of the comments from the people that watch, comments and questions really. So I'm going to go straight into that. We'll do the split dose later on in the video as well, which will be for me this afternoon. It's still about 9:30 in the morning here, so I'm getting this done quite early and I want to try and get this out. But I do want to cover some quite hot topics and some important points on today's video regarding the use of Mounjaro, and particularly around getting hold of Mounjaro and problems with the pens that some people have been having as well, which I find happening more often than not actually. So without further ado, let's get into, and I'm going to use my computer if you're wondering why I keep looking over here to remind me because my memory's terrible. So first one, this came from Mark, and he says on his question yesterday, which was the 3rd of July, the health secretary that's in the UK said about opening this Mounjaro to everyone who needs it. My thinking is anyone with a BMI over X, do we know when this will likely happen? Now, this is quite an interesting point because, especially here in the UK, we're governed by NICE guidelines and the British National Formulary with regards to prescribing medication. And what's been said in the news recently about people being offered Mounjaro more on the NHS through primary care through their GPs isn't actually anything that new. It's just that it's going to be considered more for people via the GPs. The problem is it's down to those GPs as to whether they can give it or not under the guidelines, or whether they actually want to give it. And a lot of GPs are still not really taking part in the prescription side of things. They'd rather, and I've discussed this before, they'd rather send you or refer you to a weight management clinic. And that BMI you was talking about, let me remind myself, so the initial guidance was that, and the underlying guidance is weight management in conjunction with dietary measures and increased physical activity in individuals with a BMI of 30 or more, or in individuals with a BMI of 27 or more in the presence of at least one related comorbidity. And there's many comorbidities, such as your high cholesterol, your blood pressure, and lots of underlying issues out there that people obviously know about. But then we look at the sort of more updated guidance, which has always sort of been in place, as I say, but it's giving more emphasis for it to be allowed to be prescribed by GPs in primary care, certainly in England and other areas of the UK, although between England and Wales and Scotland, and as we know, England and Wales will be separating in conjunction with making sort of clinical decisions and guidance. And certainly Northern Ireland will have their own guidelines as well. But if we read this one here, and this covers what this means in practice, where it says Tirzepatide must be funded in the NHS in England to manage overweight and obesity in adults if it is considered the most suitable treatment option. There is funding variation for Tirzepatide, and more details are available in the implementation section of the guidance. And NICE has also produced tools and resources to support the implementation of the guidance as well. And this little section here, why the committee made these recommendations, says managing overweight and obesity in adults includes diet and exercise support in primary care, but the level of support available varies and may change in the future. Some people may also have semaglutide alongside diet and exercise support if their obesity is managed in a specialist weight management service. Tirzepatide can be used in primary care or specialist weight management services. So that's where the referral comes in, which a lot of GPs would rather rely on. Clinical trial evidence suggests that Tirzepatide with diet and exercise support is more effective compared with diet and exercise support alone. Indirect comparisons suggest it is more effective compared with semaglutide alongside diet and exercise support. The company proposed that Tirzepatide could be used for adults with a BMI of at least 30, which is what the NICE guidelines said at the start and what the initial guidance was based on for anyone that was getting it, really, and at least one weight-related comorbidity. But the most likely cost effectiveness, and this is where it all comes into play, estimates for this group are above the range that NICE considers an acceptable use of the NHS resources. So Tirzepatide cannot be recommended for this group. The most likely cost effectiveness estimates for adults, and this is people over 18, with an initial BMI of at least 35 kilograms per meter squared and at least one related comorbidity. So they're looking more at the extreme end of the obesity, heavier people with comorbidities, and they are within the range that NICE considers an acceptable use of NHS resources. So Tirzepatide is recommended for this group. But yeah, it's still really a grey area, although the guidance is out there. Across the UK, and Wales, Northern Ireland and Scotland are actually different and may have their own way of doing things as well. And anyone can look up this. If you just type NICE guidelines or BNF into Google and Mounjaro and Tirzepatide, it'll bring it up so you can have a read of this. It's not as clear cut as we think it is. So there's a lot of people out there that think they're going to go to the GPs and not have to buy privately these prescriptions. If you can hear my dog, it's Henry, so you need to fuss. So apologies for the interruption. But yeah, it's not going to be as clear cut. For example, the doctors I work alongside, they don't really know a lot about Tirzepatide and Mounjaro, and they're concerned because of the health risks. And it's worth looking on the NICE guidelines as well at the cautions around it and reminding yourself if you're thinking about it. And it's not to put anyone off, it's just so you're aware of all the underlying factors relating to taking Mounjaro. Now, we've discussed this many, many times before. Obesity and being overweight, it's a disease and it should be seen more of a disease. And this is a bit of a breakthrough in regards to that. This guidance was put on last year. I think it was last reviewed in December last year. So it's nothing new and nothing's changed, but it's just that we're knowing now that GPs can, if they feel they're able to, is to prescribe it for us. Now, don't forget, we do need close monitoring. Now, the monitoring that we get at the moment through these private prescribers isn't great. And I know a lot of people that are getting Mounjaro that shouldn't be getting Mounjaro because they don't meet the basic guidelines that are set out. And some of them have got nowhere near a BMI of 27, let alone 30. But there's ways around it. I mean, I remember when I first went on with Juniper, I literally had to take a couple of pictures, a side picture, side profile picture and a forward facing picture of myself, and just told them what my weight was and what medical background I'd got. And there was nothing more than that. There was no writing to the GP. There was no face-to-face consultation. So it really is. But we're paying for that as well, aren't we? So and that's up to you. Like I say, we're all adults and we make our own decisions in life. But if you're thinking of doing it, and if your GP's on board with it, and I know that some are, that's brilliant. But no, I thought this would be a really interesting point to start with today. So good question that was, and I'm glad you mentioned it, Mark. And in regards to the guidelines, I can't say anything for other countries overseas because their guidance will be different. But it's always worth looking, and I know most people on here, they've read the leaflets through Eli Lilly and things like that, but look at their website as well and just be really familiar with everything that goes on. And I'll always try and share. I've done videos about Eli Lilly guidance really early on in this journey, so have a little look. It's always good to keep up to date. I will put some links up for the guidelines here. the links that I'll put up, I'll put the UK ones up, and if you get 5 minutes, just browse through it. It's set out really well, and it is for healthcare professionals' guidance, really, so you can see it from their point of view. And sometimes you can even, might not be a good idea if you go to the GP and actually tell them what the guidance is. They probably won't like that, but it's something that they probably need to know, especially if it's being pushed more widely and being broadcast in the news agencies, that it's going to be available to people through primary care services. I've had a lot of people reporting problems with pens, the Kwikpen, and from what it sounds like, people aren't getting the full doses from there. Now, I had a comment I noticed while I was away about someone that was only getting 3 doses out of their pens. And then, overnight, I've had a message here from Tracy saying I was on my last dose of 5 milligrams when I got my injection ready. It jammed, wouldn't turn. I let MedExpress know, and they said change the needle, which I have done, but it's still jammed. They suggested to send a video on how I did it. But if it's jammed and my last dose, how can I make a video if it's jammed? There is obviously still my dose in the pen, but can't be used. Anyone else? Has anyone else this happened to? And I'm hearing this, and they should be guiding you through this, Tracy, to be honest with you. So if it takes a video, there might be a disruption in you getting another dose now, so you'll need guidance on that as well. But just show them, if they're asking for a video, just show them that it's jammed. Just that's what I would do. But just make sure that you haven't had the, I'm assuming you've only had 3 doses and you haven't had the 4. You'll know, obviously, because some people think that there's a dose left, but it's actually the surplus for the priming, and that's what we call this golden dose, isn't it? That I've actually used one of, that I did recently, and that won't come out the pen. But if you have only had 3 doses, then you'll need to get in touch with MedExpress. But the guidance here, and again, it's always worth reading the guidance from the manufacturer, and I'll put a link on for people that are interested in this as well, from Eli Lilly. And I'll just quickly go through what they say regarding the guidance if the pen gets jammed. And it says here, there are several reasons why the dose knob can be hard to push. See the video below, and I'll put the link on for this, for troubleshooting steps to help you resolve the issue with your jammed Kwikpen. And it says, why is the Mounjaro Kwikpen dose knob difficult to push? Reasons why the Kwikpen dose can be difficult to push include faulty, jammed or blocked needle, and or needle is not compatible with the pen. Now, I'm assuming the needle's going to be fine because it's come with the pen and that's what the prescriber's giving you. So, but the needles can get blocked. So the idea is change the needle and go for the priming again. Always remember to prime. That's one of the reasons priming is, to get the air out of the pen and to make sure that the needle itself is patent and not blocked up, because sometimes we have manufacturers issues and they do get blocked. I've had it on one of them actually, and I had to change it. But always remember, when we change the needle, it needs priming again. So 2 clicks to the long mark at the start and try priming it, and again we see a little tiny jet or a bead. And then so the faulty needle could be the issue. Back to this: dirt, dust, food residue or liquid inside the Kwikpen. Well, if you're getting food residue in there, what are you doing with it? I mean, yeah, okay. Pushing the dose knob too quickly, possible. If the dose knob is hard to push, 1, check your injection technique. After you prime the Kwikpen, you are ready to deliver your dose. Push the dose knob more slowly to make it easier to inject the dose. Number 2, ensure proper pen needle use. Your needle may be blocked and interrupting the flow of the medicine. Put on a new pen needle and prime the Kwikpen, as we've just discussed. Confirm dose delivery and priming technique. You may have received 4 full doses or primed more than 8 times, resulting in over-priming. Throw the Kwikpen away and get a new Kwikpen. Well, you're going to need to get hold of, I think it was MedExpress you mentioned, wasn't it? And get their advice on that, because if it's a faulty pen, that's not your fault, is it? And that should be covered. I'd like to know how you get on with this, actually, but I would be straight onto them and saying there's an interruption to your treatment now, and that needs sorting. Finally, number 4, your Kwikpen mechanism may be clogged. So this indicates to me that they're aware that there could be a problem. I don't think any apparatus in the world is foolhardy or fool safe. There's going to be issues at some point with it. And I have heard before when people have had jammed pens and things like that. And if you're not getting any movement out of it, it's faulty, isn't it? So that needs dealing with. Throw the Kwikpen away and get a new Kwikpen. Well, I'd be wanting a new Kwikpen from them. I mean, what are they going to do? If it's your final dose, are they going to send you a vial and a needle to draw it up, or are they going to send you a whole new pen? That'd be really interesting to know. If you can get in touch and tell me how you got on. I did respond to you. I think I just asked if there was any movement on the pen at all. Be interesting if you do get back to me. Love to see how you get on with that. Next question is from Louise. Says, great you have been on a trip with the family. Yeah, thank you. And congrats on continuing the descent in kilos. Yes, thank you very much. I was quite surprised, wasn't I, on the last one. How did you manage with the injection pen? Did you have a fridge out there? Would you have stumbled upon any advice on how to travel abroad with Mounjaro and without a fridge? I guess this means taking a little break from the jabs, don't you think? Do you know what, Louise? Yeah, I did have a fridge, and I knew that we had a fridge out there. So for me, it was only in this country. It was a 2-hour drive, so it was in a cooler bag with a nice packing, making sure you don't freeze it, obviously, because if your Mounjaro gets frozen, it's no good. It's ruined it, and you shouldn't be using it after that. But yeah, we had a fridge down there, so it was easy for me. But I've looked up some advice for people before that are going abroad, and there is a really good link from ASDA of all places, which is a supermarket linked to Walmart in the US, but ASDA in the UK, and they have a site here, Online Dr.ASDA, and I'll put the link on for this, and it's regarding taking Mounjaro abroad. And initially, I'll just read the first little bit. Before you travel with medication internationally, we recommend that you check the medical regulations of the country you're visiting, most importantly. Some countries do not permit certain medications or certain medication amounts within their borders. So that's really important to know. Otherwise, you're just going to have it confiscated, aren't you? Which is a lot of money to have taken away from you. You may need to bring the documentation, so any printouts, emails from your prescriber, such as a medical certificate. If you can get something from the GP, if they're helping you, or if it's through weight management referral, something like that, a letter from them maybe. Just be aware that over here, if you want a GP letter regarding this, you'll be paying for it. So I just assume that the medication advice and the documentation from the prescriber, such as MedExpress, surely that should suffice. But they could probably guide you on this as well. But this link is really good. If you have any concerns about taking a Mounjaro abroad or your dosage, when it comes to traveling, speak with your doctor or the pharmacist that's prescribed it. If you haven't got a fridge out there, that's a really interesting point. Now, bear in mind, we can store the Mounjaro up to 30 degrees C for 30 days, can't we? But if you're going abroad, the chances are you might be going higher than that. We don't tend to go higher than that in the UK, but that's in this country, isn't it? So that's worth considering. You could keep it out of the fridge. Maybe if you get in touch with wherever you're going to, I mean, if you're staying in a self-catering place, you're going to have a fridge, aren't you? But if you're in a hotel, most hotels tend to have fridges in the rooms these days, don't they? But I wonder if it's worth contacting who you're staying with just to see if there's anything that can be done. It's worth considering. But have a look at this link. I'll put that up in the descriptions as well. There's lots of links to put up this week, but all relevant. So that was a really good point as well, especially with the season of people going on holidays or vacation, as some know it as. So on to the next comment, which is just a reminder, really, following my little breakaway in Breen last week. And Pete says, great to see you back, Neil. Glad your holiday was great, which it was. Thanks, Pete. We've got to allow ourselves extra leeway with things like holidays. Completely denying ourselves is a recipe for disaster. Have a great week ahead, and you too, Pete. Thank you. And yeah, absolutely right. It's the same as you've got to enjoy the food and you've got to find the enjoyment out of what we're doing, because this constant thought of using Mounjaro and just thinking about it all day is wearing of the mind, isn't it? And yeah, I made sure that I had some treats while I was away. And I mentioned this on my last video when I came back. And I was having, we were eating out most nights and I was having puddings, but I was including it on my calories. Now, as I said before, it wasn't like a really well balanced diet, but I still lost 2 pounds while I was away. Yeah, I was quite active. We were doing a lot of walking, not intentionally. Didn't go to just like exert myself. Went to have a relaxing week away, but we did lots of beach walks and sightseeing and things like that. And that was the enjoyment element of it, with the eating out. If you're going away, for me, it was about continuing the plan, continuing the journey on the Mounjaro. To some people, and there's been a lot of comments on this, they want a break from it. And I can understand both angles. But the way I look at it personally is that it's now my lifestyle. And there are people out there that we know, those people that can eat whatever they like and they don't put an ounce on, whereas I only have to look at a donut and I put a pound on. And for them, that their life just continues as normal. But for us, we have to think about everything we do. That's why we're here. And yeah, I think Pete's absolutely right. If we go away, we have to enjoy ourselves. It can be a recipe for disaster. How many times have we been on diets in the past, and then we go away, we're back home, and we think, oh, I've blown it all now, and that's the diet done, and we end up putting the weight back on. And this is one of the things that we have spoken about on the channel a number of times. So not to go on about it too much, it was a really good point, well made. Thanks for that, Pete. Let's have a look. What have we got next? This is one I wanted to mention. Now, this is Joe's Sleep and Slim Down Journey, who I've been calling Jos because I wasn't sure if it was Joe, Joss. It sounds like when I've watched a few of her videos and she's so bubbly, and I want you to go and have a look. If you've got a chance, have a look at Joe's Sleep and Slim Down Journey. I'll put her channel in the description as well, because she's so outgoing and she talks a lot of sense. But the other reason is, and she's put on here, it's good to see you tanned and delighted from your family holiday. It's lovely to see your wonderful family on the photos. This is just how she sounds on the videos as well. She's so lovely. Thanks, Joe. I'm sorry you couldn't get out in the garden today. It was raining when I tried to do the video, which, as you can see, I'm out today. But fortunately, I created a knitted postcard of you working out in your garden gym. You'll have to watch it for nostalgia's sake. I've seen it, don't you worry, and it's fantastic. And I'll put a little picture up here now. You're so talented, Joe. That is brilliant. I love it. I absolutely love it. So if there's any way I could get hold of one of them, you have to let me know, because yeah, it's brilliant. So, and I know that she might have mentioned it on the same video actually, but I know that people that subscribe to Joe's channel, I hope I'm not creating a lot of work for you, Joe, but I think you do knitted pictures for them as well, don't you? And postcards and things like that. And some of the ones, well, they're all brilliant. They're all brilliant. Go and have a look. It's really good. Right. Yeah, I've put her link there, so I'm going to put that on as well. Another one. Hi, Neil. Another tip I've seen online. Now, this is something I was doing anyway, but someone had to tell me to do because it just didn't occur to me. I'm not clever enough to think of these sort of things, but I thought I'd mention it again. Hi, Neil. Another tip I've seen online. When split dosing, which I'm doing at the moment, 2.5 twice a week, and I'll be doing my second 2.5 later today. I did it on Sunday, didn't I? Always make sure it's 72 hours between doses. That's the minimum, according to Eli Lilly. Once you click 30 times, use a red pen or marker. I used a biro, because as long as it makes a mark, to mark that point, and it saves counting each time. Now, the only reason why I've been counting is to show you that I'm counting. Now, 30 clicks on any pen is a half dose. A lot of people, now you will have to, like, so 15 clicks will be a quarter dose, and you'll have to work out if you're going to do less. Some people do more the start of the week and less the end of the week. I haven't. I've just been splitting it down the middle, 30 clicks and 30 clicks. So 2.5 overall over the week is a 5 milligram dose. But that was from, is it less traveled yet? My eyesight's getting worse even with my glasses on. So excellent point. Another little one I've done in here, because I mentioned that I had been bunged up a little bit, and that's sort of raised its head a little bit the last couple of days again. From Kerry Hinchcliffe. Well done, Neil. Fantastic loss. Glad you had a fab holiday. Thank you very much. If you don't take anything with you for constipation, eat a kiwi fruit. I haven't heard about kiwi fruit being good for constipation. There's been a few things mentioned, like fruits and things like that tend to be good, don't, like prunes and whatever else. Fruit in general, if you're eating a lot of fruit, should help increasing your fibre. I haven't put the teeth in this morning, have I? So plenty of water, fibre, fruits and things like that is really good. Just remember that if you're using fruits and foods to help you go, just if you're calorie counting, just to include that as well, because obviously, I mean, kiwi fruit, it's about 30 calories for the average kiwi fruit, isn't it? But did you know some people eat the skin on a kiwi fruit? I was looking it up earlier on today, and that just sounds... I hope you don't mean that, Kerry, because I couldn't eat the skin of one. No, thank you. But good idea, though. I like it. Let's have a look at what else have we got here. Schnapps. This was great. Just rewatched. As a woman in her 50s, I never really felt comfortable in the gym, and I've been working out at home. Excellent. It's easier to talk myself into leaving the sofa to work out at home than to go to the gym. Now, this is exactly what I was saying, isn't it? Also cheaper in the long run, definitely, definitely. And this is the opportunity to, if you do want to work out at home, actually, and I haven't done it for this reason, but, and someone was asking, oh, she might have asked it. Yeah, the storage shed thing, because I keep, if you can see that over there, now the bike isn't out all the time, and I have got a cover for the bike, and it comes under here where the shelter is at night. But all my gym equipment's in that box over there. Now I've got that weights bench, which I'll put the link up for. I've got two sets of dumbbells now and a barbell. I've got all my bands in there. I've got the gym mat, and it all goes into that box. And it's just a garden storage container, which has become a bit of a table for a few ornaments and the birdseed at the moment. But let me carry on with what she was saying. Work out cheaper. If I come to the gym, we work out at home. It's easy to talk myself to leaving the sofa. Yeah, of course. It's also especially important for perimenopausal or menopausal women to strength train, which is a really good point, and build muscle, even if you're not on a GLP-1. So this is really good advice, actually. Thanks for this. Please can you also include a link to the storage shed? Yeah, I think I sent that to you as well, but that is a really good point. And on this, you know, I mentioned before where I was going to be talking to you out there. We're going to be doing some interviews with some people regarding their journeys. Now, I've got to get back in touch, and I have remembered, and I hope she's watching. There's a lady who wants to come on and talk about the menopausal side of things and her journey. And she was saying that she's only been on it about 3 or 4 months, but she's got some important points and some interesting discussions to have. So this is the way that we're going to go very soon. There's so much stuff that I want to do with the channel, but at the same time, I want it to be something that we can all take part in, something that we find worthwhile as well. And I'm not just going to put stuff out just to keep the channel going. And there's already people, you know, what direction we're going to take the channel in when I get to the end of my stage, because I'm nearly at 6 months now. If you look at the nice guidelines, I should be reviewing in about a month's time. I'm 5 months in, and that could mean that I might stop. I might need a maintenance dose. This will be for me and my provider to discuss. But I'd like to keep this going because, one, you, as I've said so many times before, you keep me going. And it's been, I'm not going to lie, it's been hard work, this has, and it is hard work, and I've put a lot of time into this, to be honest, but I do enjoy what I'm doing. I wouldn't do it if I didn't enjoy it, but I like to think that I'm helping people as well. I'm no medical expert in this. I've got a little bit of medical knowledge with the job I do about just looking after ourselves in general, and that was the approach when I started this channel, all about me getting into some sort of healthy shape with being as unhealthy as I was, and I'm sort of getting there. My blood pressure, as I say, is better. My cholesterol isn't, but my BMI is certainly coming down, and I've never really paid much attention to BMI. I think it's a bit of an outdated and very broad sort of spectrum of looking at things, but we all need markers to go by. So this is what I want to do sort of moving forward, and maybe broaden the horizons. I'm looking out for things, but at the same time, keep it interesting, which is quite important, isn't it? If you've got any ideas or if there's things that you want to see on the channel, let me know. I feel like when we say things like that, like when we're doing these sort of things, I mean, I do another channel with my son, and it's all about the football, and we started that last year. And I'm a Birmingham fan, as most people know. You probably noticed this badge, this thing that we film out here as well when we do our channel. But and when we say things like, "Oh, you let us know what you want to see," it almost sounds like we're running out of ideas. But there's lots of things that we can do, but it needs people to take part sometimes as well. So that's one of the sort of directions that we're going to go off in, to sort of open it up and talk about people's journeys. And I know a lot of people, when I first started doing this, people hated the word journey, and I was being slated for it, but don't care now, because we all have our journeys. And I've got a little bit of a thicker skin on me now, which sounds ridiculous, having lost all this weight. But I just ignore, and I've mentioned the dodgy comments before, and I just ignore and delete them now. Sometimes I just leave them on there, and I think we're doing more good than harm. And we do get criticised, and we are called cheats and things like that. And people are saying, well, if you can lose the weight, and why do you need the medication? People just sometimes don't get it. They don't know what we've been through to arrive at where we are today. I mean, there's people of about my age, there's people younger that follow the channel, there's people that are older. And even the younger people have been through a hell of a lot in their lives. It might be illness, which if you're overweight, for me, it's an illness. Doesn't matter if how you got here. And we've all got valid reasons as to why we're overweight. And if you're here now, that means you want to do something about this. And that's only a good thing. And that's why I'm doing this. Yes, it was about sort of vlogging my lifestyle, but it's evolved into helping others as well. And I'll get off my pedestal a little bit now watching this, but keep the content coming, guys. Keep the comments and the questions coming. As I say, if I can look anything up for you, if I'm aware, I tend to know a lot of people's experiences now, and it's great how many people come back with the comments on the channel. And my responses, I've still tried. I think I've responded to all of them this week so far. If I've missed any, and as I say, if they're really pressing, get back in touch. But yeah, I try and get around, and I listen to everyone, and always put your name at the end as well, because sometimes people have got some really dodgy names on there, like like BOB6 and things like that. And I'm assuming it's Bob. Sometimes, like, they'll sign it Larry or something like that. And so put your name on it as well, because it's nice to put a name, and I tend to remember. I get them wrong sometimes because there's that many. But let's do the jab anyway. You'll see that straight away, and then I'll stop babbling. Right, it's time to do this day's my half dose, split dose. It's still only 10:15, but it's been more than 72 hours since my last dose. So let's do my next 2.5 split dose of the week. It's Wednesday, so let's get on with it. As usual, bit of hand gel. Make sure that you are as clean as possible, and we'll go through everything. And we'll have a little look at the pen today and just have a discussion about potentially what can go wrong with it. And we'll just have a quick look at exactly how this pen looks. Now, my pen, the 5mg one's been kept in the fridge. I always keep it in the fridge. Now, when I first started, it was during the winter months, and I kept it in a drawer in basically in my little office I've got. But yeah, I just started keeping it in the fridge. Some people talk about taking it out of the fridge just to acclimatise to room temperature before jabbing, because it can be a little bit sore, tiny bit sore if you inject it cold. That doesn't bother me too much. So this has literally just come out of the fridge before I've pressed record on the phone, and I'll just go for it. And as long as you don't get too blasé with doing this, you still follow all the safety steps, you'll be fine. Now, talking about like problems with the pen earlier, people are having the pen jam. So I don't know what's happening, but I do know that when people prime, and we'll go through all this, that needles can get blocked. But if the pen itself's jamming, that will be something here that's gone wrong. So it shouldn't go wrong. But the fact that Eli Lilly have said that if there's a jam, then it needs throwing in the bin. And these pens, they don't go in your yellow or whatever colour sharps bin you've got. These just go in general waste. But if it's jamming and you can't get a turn on it, my advice just to try it would be if you get a turn, or maybe just, now be careful because this is glass. Just give it a little bit of a wobble and a shake. Don't try and detach anything, but just don't over push anything as well, because sometimes there's a ratchet type thing that you can hear in there. If that gets stuck, maybe it could just be momentarily stuck, but without overdoing it. And I don't mean get a pair of pliers or anything like that, but really I think the guidance would be not to tamper with it at all. Now, when we go off license and we take out this surplus bit here at the end, some people are breaking the pen and doing all sorts, using a Dremel and things like that. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. I have actually got that surplus out, and you've seen me on previous videos where I use an insulin needle to do that. So anyway, if you are having problems with the pen, or if anyone's had any problems and they've needed to get it replaced, I'd really be interested to hear about that, because it'd be good to pass that advice on. But initially, I know that when I first started with Checkup, was it Checkup? No, it wasn't Checkup. So it was Juniper to start with. They always said if there was a problem with the pen itself, to get in touch with them and they would replace it. That was what they told me. So I'd like to think that that would be the case with any of the suppliers. But anyway, moving on to the actual getting things ready. So we've got the pen. Then we're going to use one of our little wipes here to clean the seal. Now, I'm doing it outdoors, but it's still nice and clean out here. It's a lovely day to do it. Just don't leave this in direct sunlight. But we're going to clean this little bit here, and I'm going to just come a little bit closer for you. So, as you know, there's a little seal in there. It's that little red rubber bit, and that's the bit that the needle literally seals against. So that's that. And then we get, which are over here, my little pack of needles. And like I say, I seem to have a few of these around now, even though I'm split dosing. I did buy some extra ones, so I'll probably use the ones out of the box. So we've got the pen there. This is a 4mm one, maybe different if you've had it from a different supplier. Pull that off there, that goes in the bin. Careful, as you know, there's a needle that end as well. That's the bit that goes into the pen, which, as I always say, put it on nice and straight, no bending of the needle. Tighten it just so it's just nice and snug. And then this one here comes off, which we keep. Put that on the table down there. This is the one that can come off and go in the bin. And I haven't brought my sharps box out, which is really bad practice, really. It's on the windowsill in the kitchen. So I've got my sharps box. Let's do this properly. Sharps box ready to go. If I'm going to be showing you how to do things, let's do it as it should be. So that's there. Right. I have got just a few little needles in there. Now, we mentioned this loads of times before. Tiny little bubbles. Did I say needles in there? Bubbles in there. We have just a few tiny bubbles on the side of the vial here. Now, don't worry too much about tiny bubbles, right? But try and get them right up the top. So obviously the bubbles are going to rise up. So that's why the needle should be at the top there. And then with it being in the prime position, which is 2 clicks, you can already see a little bead there. Give that a squeeze, and that was quite a bit, wasn't it? But it doesn't need to be that much, as long as you know that that needle works. And then, now this is the bit where we should be marking the pen. I count 30, put it back on 0, 30 clicks. And I haven't marked the pen this time, but I'm showing you because I'm showing you how many clicks that we do. So all the way to 0, 1, 2, 3. Was that painful to watch? I bet it was for the people that mark the pens. Sorry. Right, ready to go. So I'll move the camera down and we'll show you the bit going into the tummy. There we go. Right, I went this side, didn't I, the other day on Sunday, and I wonder if it's still there. Yeah, it is. I had a bit of a red mark come up after the jab on Sunday. It's the first time I've ever had any type of reaction, and it's just come up as a bruise now. So I'm going to avoid there, which is I could still come here as long as I'm 2 inches away from here, or either side here as well. So I am going to go the opposite side, so the left side upper, 2 inches away from my belly button, and let's go for it. So we're going to come in nice and straight. I'm going to pinch still, as I always do. We're going to push this, making sure that we're in a comfortable position to do that. Give it 5 seconds and then withdraw, looking out for any spots of blood. And I'll just monitor to see if there's any more sort of reactions, really. It was only red for like half a day, and then the bruise came up the next day. So anyway, little pinch there. Make sure it's in the fatty, skinny bit, which I've got plenty of. Straight in there like that. Squeeze that until it goes all the way to the bottom, like so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and withdraw. If you do have a spot of blood, you can use a little bit of gauze or cotton wool or something just to dab that up, but I don't tend to get much in the way of that. So that's the next dose done. And then using the old cover there, as we always do, that can come off now. That's finished with. Don't use that again. The only time you can use this needle twice is if you have a problem momentarily with the pen, you come out, and if it's still patent, it can go back in again within a few seconds. But if you're like out and your pen goes away, get rid of it. So that's that. So we're all up to date. I can forget about this now until Saturday or Sunday. As long as it's 3 days with the split dosing as we're doing, I'm fine. So, as I say, keep the comments coming. Thank you for following me. I don't say this very often, but if you're watching for the first time and you feel that this might help you, please drop me a little like. I don't think I've ever said that before. And subscribe to the channel. I've also got a Facebook page. You can contact me on there, or I'll always put little updates on there. I don't tend to use it as much, but people use it to contact me quite often. And likewise, drop me a comment, and if it's something pressing, I'll try and help you where I can. Apart from that, have a really good week. It's been great to see you all again. I'll speak to you on Saturday or Sunday. Take care.